When their parents are kidnapped by the Empire, Milo and Lena Graff set off to rescue them. After narrowly escaping Captain Corda's evil clutches on Thune, Milo and Lena track the source of a rebel transmission to a remote jungle planet. But they are unaware of the dangers lying in wait. Will Milo and Lena be able to find the help they need?
Welcome back, younglings, to the Padawan Library, episode 84. I'm Levi Paratic, with me as always, Tim May.
Hello!
And this week we are reading book 3, labeled book 2 of the Adventures in Wild Space series, The Nest. And this one is written by Tom Huddleston, not Tom Hiddleston. Huddleston. But we will get to that.
The Nest. Now, this made us think of something. Nest. The word nest.
Mm-hmm.
There was a sitcom called Empty Nest. So we watched the pilot episode of Empty Nest, and we're going to talk about it for probably a half hour.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe not a half hour, but we'll see. All right.
We'll see. So Empty Nest began in 88. Ran till 95, ran for 7 seasons. Very
run.
Successful show. In its first 3 seasons, it was in the top 10 most watched shows.
Wow.
Okay, this NBC, huge success. This was a Saturday night show.
Saturday night?
This was on the Saturday night block
they
with
used
Golden
to
Girls.
program Saturday nights. They don't do that anymore. The last show I can even think of that was programmed on Saturday nights was Freaks and Geeks. And that was it was a mistake.
Yeah, exactly. That's why the show got canceled after one season. But this was a Saturday night show. This show began. They initially did what they call a backdoor pilot in a 1987 episodes of Golden Girls. Okay, now if you're not familiar with Empty Nest, it's about a doctor played by Richard Mulligan.
Richard Mulligan,
yep.
From Soap.
He plays a
from the TV show Soap.
Okay, all right. He plays a doctor, and his wife has died at the start of this 18 months ago, and he has 3 daughters, and 2 of them live nearby, and he has an annoying neighbor. So that's the whole setup of the show.
And listen, he's like a pediatrician, and it's created, by the way, by Susan Harris, who did create Golden Girls, also created Soap, which Richard Mulligan was on much earlier. And, so it's technically a spin-off because there was a backdoor pilot, but
completely different. Richard Mulligan wasn't even in this backdoor pilot. Okay, so what the backdoor pilot introduced that the Golden Girls had a next-door neighbor, George and Renee Collins, who were in their 40s, and their children had left and gone to college, hence Empty Nest. The only thing that remained from this episode, which apparently was not good, so basically the show was already set to order. This episode happened, it went badly, so they redid everything. But David Leisure was still the next door neighbor.
I actually have some info on David Leisure. Have you looked up David Leisure?
I have heard that he was like a big commercial guy.
Yes, Joe Isuzu himself.
Yes.
All right, so let me explain. David Leisure plays this annoying neighbor, who's like a pilot or something. Is he a pilot?
Or a boat captain. He comes in like a captain's uniform of some sort.
And he's like apparently the doctor's friend, but he says tons of terrible things to his daughter all the time.
in front of her father, and he does nothing. He does absolutely nothing to like stand up for her. It's crazy.
And like he's like a pretty typical sitcom character, like annoying neighbor, like makes like sexist jokes. This was like a common sitcom tradition basically until like 5 years ago. Like this character could have been on TV. So like so this is the thing. This actor was a big pitchman, and he was a pitchman for Isuzu, which is a Japanese car company, and he had a very famous run of commercials where he played a guy named Joe Isuzu, who was like a boy who cried wolf figure, who like kept lying about like making overinflated claims about the cars and how good they were. Mm-hmm. And like that was the joke, and like the guy that directed Alien Nation directed all these commercials apparently. And so yeah, some famous quotes include these, is what it says on the Wikipedia page. "You have my word on it. If I'm lying, may lightning hit my mother." And then it says on the screen, "Good luck, Mom." And he's like, "It has more seats than the Astrodome." "Hi, I'm Joe Isuzu, and I use my new Isuzu pickup truck to carry a 2,000-pound cheeseburger." "The Isuzu Impulse, faster than a speeding, catches bullet in his teeth." "Well, you know." Oh, catching the bullets, baby. "I swear on my mother's grave the quality of this Isuzu." Cell phone rings. "Oh, hi, Mom." And then finally, "Isuzu Trooper 2 can hold the whole state of Texas." And then it says on the screen, 78.2 cubic feet of it. Oh, so sly, so funny.
Have you read the legacy section yet of this?
Oh, God.
Yeah,
the character became a fixture in American pop culture. In 1988, Michael Dukakis, in a debate with George H.W. Bush during that year's presidential election, said, "If Bush keeps it up, he's going to be the Joe Isuzu of American politics." Oh, shit! Dukakis got him! Oh, damn. He also reprised the role in a 1992 A&W commercial for cream soda. True to form, Isuzu made outrageous claims about the soda.
In 2012, the Daily Finance named David Leisure number 15 of top 25 celebrity spokesmen of all time.
Oh,
so
damn. And remember, the Daily Finance is a subsidiary of AOL. We should note that.
Yes.
I just like making fun of Wikipedia writing. Sorry. Oh, my God. That's stunning. All right. I'm glad we talked about that. But anyway, his character's super annoying. Empty Nest. Here's the thing. So it's technically a spin-off of Golden Girls, but kind of isn't. I'm going to admit something here, and I'm a big sitcom head. Mm-hmm. I've actually never seen a full episode of the Golden Girls. It just, for some reason, passed me by. It never was like a part of my...
I can't really claim that I know really anything about it either, other than the basic premise.
It was never like part of my, watching... I watched lots of old shows when I was a kid, too. Like, it's not like I only watched new shows. But for whatever reason, I never watched Golden Girls. And when we were in college, I feel like lots of people our age were like obsessed with Golden Girls.
Yeah.
And I think that's still true to some degree. But I never got into it, and I don't have anything against it really. I've seen Soap, weirdly, which is an earlier show, but that's because that's like it's kind of like a well-known, kind of groundbreaking TV show. Like Billy Crystal, I think, plays the first gay character in a TV show, American TV show. Which you can imagine Billy Crystal playing a gay character, but he's a sympathetic character at least, and for the time, very impressive. But
didn't hurt him like Christopher Reeves, so
yeah, well, no, obviously he wasn't super famous at that point, so he didn't have a defined persona. This show, I gotta say, I watched it. A couple things. One, it's not streaming legally anywhere, but the whole series has been uploaded to YouTube by somebody, and my biggest problem is whoever uploaded this cropped it. And
to widescreen.
and like you can't even read the credits. Like,
did you? I think we're watching the same version.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
But did you keep getting ads for like TV shows that the person who uploaded it had created?
Oh no, I have ad blocker, so I wasn't on YouTube, but.
Oh, okay.
But that's funny. So they were like advertising other shows they had uploaded?
Yeah, it was like on the YouTube video I watched, like they had like a logo in the corner, like it was a TV network, and then like TV network banners kept popping up for various shows, and it's like, check out my other series, like, and it like
this is
very was specific about like, I made this show.
That's very funny. This is very like specific and niche what I'm about to say, but this reminds me, I think it's funny when like YouTube pirates pretend like they have any real ownership over anything.
I know, right?
So it's like they're several years ago, the NBA did not upload like full highlights from games onto YouTube. So there was a guy, and I won't say his name because I guess I don't want him to get in trouble or whatever, but he would upload full highlights, and that was the way you could get highlights on YouTube for a long time. And then the NBA started just doing it on their own. And if you look at the YouTube comments, still sometimes people will be like, "Man, I miss that guy's cut downs. Like I can't believe the NBA fucked him." And I'm like, like, what are you talking about? Like, it's not like he was
never
making
his
money.
to begin with.
If he was making money on it, it was illegal. But it's like, but he probably wasn't even making any substantial money. And
No.
YouTube ads are not exactly like. It's just very funny to me. Like, I don't know. Anyway, Empty Nest. Yeah, I will say this. You know, I'm not going to watch all 170 episodes of Empty Nest.
No.
But it was a fine sitcom pilot.
It was fine.
There's nothing wrong with it, really. It's okay.
It was fine. It was fine. I was because like there's this you meet his daughters and they couldn't be total opposites. Like because the one she's like a health nut, I guess that's how they portray her. That's her one quality.
Right. Well,
is
and
she promotes healthy food.
Well, they have that dramatic scene where she talks about how like she doesn't want him to get married again because like, and she's a recent divorcee.
Right. Her husband left her.
Yeah.
But even then, that little like monologue she has about like when she was dressed up as the banana, it's still food related.
That is
she
true.
was still dressed up as food.
That's just smart, focused character writing, Levi.
And then the other daughter,
she's a cop.
she's a cop. And I was staring at her, and it's like, I know this actress
Christy
from
McNichol,
somewhere.
Right?
Mm-hmm. And I've seen her in a movie before, and it's called, I don't know if you've ever seen this, it's called Just the Way You Are. I think it's from 84, 85, somewhere in there. I think it's 84. Harry Truman from Twin Peaks is in it.
Oh, wow.
But okay, I saw this movie on TCM. There was a frame rate issue on it, and I think it's because it was only ever released on DVD once in a 2-pack with another movie. So I think when they did the transfer initially is where the frame rate issue comes from. It's about this college girl who decides, you know what, I'm going to go spend my spring break in the French Alps. So she goes to Europe. And then she's just like, oh, man, I need to get laid here. But there's so many people. Nobody's paying any attention to me. So she sees another person on crutches with a broken leg. And she's like, oh, that's an idea. So she goes to a doctor, convinces the doctor to put a cast on her leg, and then everybody's paying attention.
I thought she was just going to fuck the guy with the broken leg. That's like,
no.
I can't believe it.
So she has a cast on her leg, and now she's living this huge lie, and she makes all these friends, and then she thinks she's out of skiing. Turns out they have what they call the gimp race.
Oh,
and the
God.
and the main prize is $5,000. So like she competes, she wins, and then she goes on a huge hot air balloon excursion. It is so wild. It was such a wild movie.
That's crazy. The Christy McNichol, I believe she was like a child star. She was on Family, I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and she like had a very, very large TV career because if you like look on her Wikipedia page, she showed up on The Love Boat, she showed up on Starsky and Hutch.
She was a huge star,
yeah.
So this was like her first big adult role, I think, like on TV anyway.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's a pretty adult role you just described. I was I will say, yeah, like, again, nothing, but this is just good workman-like, basic down-the-middle sitcom. I don't like. There's not much to talk about here. Like it's fine. You know, it's fine. Yeah.
It's fine.
Who else?
Did you find the scene with the kid in the doctor's office a little strange?
Oh, that he sent the mother away.
Yeah, he sent the mother away, and then he gave the kid his personal number, and he's like, "You call me if you need anything, but don't tell your mother." Yeah,
it's weird, but like the way it's played, like it's not like they skate by the problems, but you can't not think about it, obviously.
Right, because then the nurse barges in, and he's like, "What have I told you about always not?"
Oh yeah, I know. Like there's some weird stuff there. I mean, I think he's actually pretty funny, Richard Mulligan. Like he's like a solid and the whole plot of this episode is basically that there's this woman that he's been having dinner with every Friday for the last year, but hasn't realized that that's like dating. And she's like, listen, we're both old, and like I want to get married again, and if you don't want to, I need to know now so that I can move on. Mm-hmm. And
that actress, by the way, is Grace
Zabriskie, right?
Zabriskie, yeah, who played Sarah Palmer in Twin Peaks.
Yeah, she's all over the place. She's a pretty famous.
She also played what's her name's mother from Seinfeld?
Oh shit!
Oh, crap.
I know who you're talking about.
I know. Yep.
Okay. Well.
Yeah. She was on Seinfeld with fellow Twin Peaks star Dr. Hayward. Dr. Haywood.
Okay.
Is that his name? Doc Haywood? Yeah, Doc Haywood plays her husband in Seinfeld.
Right. Okay. Well. Anyway, this is a there's not much else to say about this. I will say. It made me think a lot about spin-offs of sitcoms and sitcom universes. So this is very interesting to me. So some obvious examples, you got the Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, Mork and Mindy. I guess Joni Loves Chachi. That universe. You got like All in the Family, The Jeffersons, Good Times. Like all those Norman Lear shows are basically in the same universe. And then there's my favorite, Cheers and Frasier, sure. We all know that. But then, of course, there's also Wings, the forgotten program, Wings, which ran for 8 seasons, right? And has shares some creative team stuff with those two shows, and has an episode, I believe, where they go to Cheers, right? And then the other thing to remember is that Cheers, there's an episode of St. Elsewhere in which they go to Cheers. And St. Elsewhere, of course, if you know anything about it, you probably know that the ending of St. Elsewhere, you find out that one of the main character's children, who's this autistic boy, the whole show takes place in a snow globe inside his head.
Right.
And so,
right.
But there have been tons of crossovers between St. Elsewhere and other shows, and then crossovers between those shows and other shows. So there's a massive television universe that all takes place inside Tommy Westfall's head, and it includes Law and Order and every Law and Order spinoff. It includes, so it's still going on, like, you know, and like that means it includes The Wire. The Wire is in this universe. That means it includes Homicide: Life on the Street. That means it includes The X-Files. That means it includes all kinds of programs, which is so funny to me. I like think about it. NYPD Blue, I think, maybe not that one. That one maybe not, but it's crazy. And then it also includes Cheers, because they went to Cheers.
They went to there, which then it includes Frasier. Then it includes Wings.
It's crazy, and like, you know, and it'll include, like, eventually, like, if they ever get like. So they need to do. I just love the idea of these expansive universes, and this is, I guess, another small one, because there's Golden Girls, Empty Nest, and the Golden Girls all show up on Empty Nest within the first season as their neighbors. There's that, and then there was another spinoff of Empty Nest called Nurses.
Nurses.
Oh yeah, there's like an annoying southern nurse too, like.
Yeah,
Like,
and I think she's the lead of that show.
Yeah, she's the worst part of the pilot, I would say. Like, she was very unfunny, I thought. But yeah, no, and so, yeah, and you posted a thing on my Facebook.
Oh, apparently there is a third spin-off to Golden Girls.
The Golden Place. The Golden Place. I knew this in my head somewhere.
Oh, it's Golden Palace. I'm sorry. That's even funnier, though, because that sounds like a Chinese restaurant, the Golden Palace.
Golden Palace? That's what it is?
Yeah.
I knew there was, like, as soon as you said it, I was like, right, it was the Golden something else. I, for some reason, knew that. I didn't just look that up. That's weird. Okay.
Ran for one season.
Wow.
It was basically a continuation of Golden Girls without B. Arthur.
Wow.
That's all it was.
Shouts to B. Arthur, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Let's all go to the cantina. Toast to B. Arthur. All right. I don't know if we really have much else to say here.
No, nothing about Empty Nest. I guess Empty Nest is the most successful spinoff of Golden Girls.
Yeah,
but
seven
more
years
spinoffs
is a pretty good run.
But Jag into NCIS,
God.
NCIS New Orleans, into NCIS Los Angeles.
NCIS, or no, that's CSI Cyber. I'm sorry. But anyway, Jag, the fact that Jag spawned NCIS is something I love to remind people. Like, I'm just like, you know, remember that show Jag? Which, by the way...
Yeah, because Jag seems wildly forgotten.
And that show went on for 10 years. That's a 10-year-long program.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, yeah, that's crazy. I don't know. There was a whole thing on The Masked Singer last season about Jag that was actually, like, very funny. Like, Ken Jeong kept guessing people were from Jag. Like, which was actually, like... I know, like, that show is, like, lame and, like, Ken Jeong could be annoying sometimes, but I was laughing very hard every time you mentioned Jag. I was blown away. Anyway.
And then, I mean, most recently in terms of spin-offs, like, it doesn't happen as much anymore. Of course, Blackish has a whole bunch of, like, spin-offs, it seems.
Oh, yeah, there's Mixed-ish and Grown-ish, right?
Yeah, but the Chicago-verse is all, like...
Oh, yeah. But aren't those also in the Law & Order universe because it's all Dick Wolf?
Probably,
so they probably are in the Tommy Westfall universe, the St. Elsewhere universe. I love it. All right, so yeah, that's Empty Nest, guys. That was fun to talk about. Next week we are okay.
Let's reveal this at the end of the show.
All right,
let's give people a reason to stick around.
All right, so just a hint here. You knew next week is for Junior Jedi Knights #1, the Golden Globe.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
There's your clue. Your only clue.
And we've been hinting at a Golden Globes theme, like the award show themed subject. So we'll tell you what we're watching, what we're doing for next week at the end of the show.
At the end of the episode.
All right, so
there's a lot of explanation to get to where we're going.
All right, so this week though we are reading technically book 2 of Adventures in Wild Space, The Nest. So yeah, stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
Look at all this great stuff, Elise. Cool. Personalized plates. Barclay, Barry, Bert. Bort? Oh, come on. Bort?
Mommy, buy me a license plate.
No, come along, Bort.
Are you talking to me?
No, my son is also named Bort.
Welcome back to Padawan Library. I'm Tim May, here, as always, with Levi Peretic.
Hello.
And this week, as we mentioned, we're doing Adventures in Wild Space #2, The Nest. But before we do that, we forgot one thing about Empty Nest that we must discuss, which is the main character owns a dog.
Mm-hmm.
As a dog friend named Dreyfus. Great name for a dog. Incredible name for a dog. I honestly might steal it if I get another dog.
You should.
Such a good name.
I would be blown away if you name a dog Dreyfus.
Hey, it's me, Dreyfus. I can't do Richard Dreyfus. I try sometimes. Anyway. All right, so... and I just wanted to say, like, there's this little bit at the beginning of the episode and a little bit at the end with just Him hanging out the dog, talking to him like he's a real person, like, you can pick up after yourself, you live here too. Oh. And it cuts to the dog, and he's just looking at him. So funny.
Yeah, the dog was actually like a really good dog actor. There was like a moment where like they had the dog like looking back and forth, like just doing this like expression that was great.
He's not Eddie from Frasier, but he's pretty good.
He's also not the Married with Children dog, who I think is also a pretty notable dog.
Pretty good dog, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Good boy. All right, so we need to move on. But we during the break we were just like
Dreyfus.
we need to shout out Dreyfus. Okay. All right, so Adventures in Wild Space. We've been enjoying this series so far. This series, of course, is about two kids looking for their parents who have been taken by the Empire. And the previous book, The Snare, ended with them escaping an Imperial blockade on the planet Thune. And following what seems like a transmission from a rebel cell of some sort,
right?
And on a planet called Xirl, Xirl, Xirl. So they're headed there, and that's where we pick up.
That's where we pick up. And I do want to say that this book should be called Galaxy of Fear. The Nest, because this is a very Galaxy of Fury kind of book.
It is. It's mostly about running away from a beastie.
Mostly. That's something about these books is like, I mean, because it's size 30 font, double spaced, it feels like every book has like one major event. Like that is like, or like the whole book is built around one major event, and I kind of like that formula. I should note that this book is not written by Cavan Scott. It's written by Tom Huddleston, and I do have some info on Tom Huddleston.
Huddleston.
All right. He has written two of his own kind of junior novels for kids. They are called Flood World, which is a action-packed adventure story set in a future ravaged by the effects of climate change.
So it's Waterworld, like Flood World, Waterworld.
Well, there's only two of them, Flood World and Dust World, but it's about two kids, a boy and a girl, who go on an adventure.
Sounds pretty good.
Then I figured out the Cavan Scott connection, all right?
Oh, shit.
All right. They wrote two books the one's a sequel to the other one. Cavan wrote the one, he wrote the other one. It's in the Warhammer series, which is Warhammer put out by Games Workshop, and it's apparently Warhammer is a whole universe that people are all about, but Cavan Scott and Tom Huddleston each wrote a book that are in the same universe as each other. So that's the connection between the two.
So they at least know each other. Like
they know each other. They're about the same age. They're both from England, so that's why I think they got to be friends somehow. Also, Tom is a singer-songwriter who is in what he calls a cosmic folk rock group called the No Sorrows.
Have you listened to any of the No Sorrows?
I actually listened to one song on his webpage. The song is called Whitehaven, and it was pretty good. It wasn't bad at all.
Okay, I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I was like, because I don't want to have another Professor Hack hard drive situation.
No. Nobody meets the rhyme and prose of Professor Hack hard drive. All right, come on, my dude. Come on.
All right.
But yeah, check out the No Sorrows, and apparently Tom also he used to be like a film wrote film reviews, interviewed people. He apparently has interviewed Spielberg, Lynch, Neil Young, of course Jeff Bridges, since he has a photo with him on his website. But he also has recently, I'm going to read this verbatim off his website, I have recently set myself up as a freelance editor, proofreader, and story developer for fiction and nonfiction projects. So if you got an amazing idea for a children's story, and if you're keen to break into the franchise fiction market, or you're looking to for a copy edit of your newest film book, don't hesitate to get in touch with me on my Readsy page.
Good. You got to make a living. I'm happy for him. I can't say I've read any of his film journalism, but I'm sure it's fine.
It's fine. It has to be fine.
Yeah, and he talked to Neil Young. That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, all those people, that's cool, but like Neil Young was a surprise. It was a curveball. So, Although Neil Young is a director to some degree, but unless I know you're a big fan of the film Greendale. You love Greendale, so.
I was just thinking because he mentioned David Lynch, and this is completely off topic. But
boy.
that story that I shared with you about Lynch, that he had drinks with Elizabeth Moss and John Hamm, and he referred to them as Don and Peggy the entire night, and he had this quote that he was just like, "I love Mad Men, and they will always be Don and Peggy to me."
What a king! Only somebody like him could get away with that. Like,
I know, right?
That is like so rude. Like in reality, I love it. But like, if anyone else did that, it'd be like, what a dick. Like, but for some reason, it's just like, what a delight, David Lynch. What a character. All right, and I love Mad Men too, and they will always be Don and Peggy.
They will always be Don and Peggy to me as well. So,
all right.
This book. So, they, of course, at the beginning of this book are having ship issues. That seems to be an ongoing thing in the past two books. What is the name of this dang book? I can never remember. The Whisper Bird.
The Whisper Bird, yeah.
The Whisper Bird's having an issue with the hard drive. Not the hard drive. The Professor Hack hard drive.
The hyperdrive.
The hyperdrive. They get to Zerl. They have to make an emergency landing. They need parts. Then they see, when they get to Zerl, there's this huge building, and this building must be where this rebel signal is coming from.
So they think.
So they think. So they see a crashed ship. So they land their ship and then go to scavenge this ship in order to find parts for their ship. Now, while they're doing this, another ship lands. A ship gets, and these three people step out, and they are these mercenary types led by this woman, and they're like, what's this ship doing on my planet? You know, that kind of thing.
What's
so
the woman's name again?
We'll get there because it's revealed, but her name is Gozetta. And then
kind of
Gozetta has two cronies, Corin. And this made me laugh.
Bort.
Okay.
All right. I might have dropped in a Simpsons drop in the middle at the break here. And so if you were confused by that, that's why. Bort. I was so happy when I read this. Maybe my favorite moment ever on The Simpsons is the Bort joke. And I will probably have had it earlier, so you don't need to... I don't need to explain it, but that is classic. And there's also, I can't remember. I've seen like a vanity license plate with the name, which is where this comes from, with the name Bort, like on it in Erie, and it's not a Simpsons joke. Like, it's so like it's hard to explain. I'm sorry. Like, there's like a whole like. Bort, there's a business called Bort. Like, so Bort's a real name, but like I never think of it as real. So.
It's The Simpsons. It's always The Simpsons.
Yeah. My son's name is also Bort. That's all I think of.
I remember being at Universal Studios, like in a gift shop, and they had this rack of Simpsons themed like keychains with names on it, and Dan went for it immediately, and it was like Bort. They had Bort, and he was like, I have to get this. So I think he still has it on his keychain, like he carries it with him every day.
Shouts to Dan. I appreciate that.
Yep.
All right. Anyway,
not your brother Dan, other Dan, who will probably never be on the show.
Yeah, he has no reason to be on the show. I love him. He's one of my oldest friends, but there's no reason for him to be on the show. So anyway, there's. I think, and so this crew, this mercenary, and her two cronies. They allude to the fact that she had another couple cronies that went missing.
Correct.
And so eventually...
The kids run off because there's a big building that, like I mentioned, they saw when they landed. And they get there, they sneak in, but when they get there, they realize the side of the building has been ripped off. They notice claw marks, which they notice claw marks on the downshift initially, and it's like, claw marks. They sneak inside the building, and then this is where eventually they get caught by the mercenaries. And the kids are real hesitant to tell them what they're actually doing there. They don't tell them, about the Empire, the fact that their parents have been taken. They don't say anything about that, which I think may have, had they, said anything, maybe the mercenaries would have been a little nicer to them, especially because it's mentioned that Bort has a daughter who's going to go into the Imperial Academy soon.
All right, and he's like, the Empire knows what's up.
Yeah.
But he seems nervous about it.
Yeah, and if the kids had explained, our parents were, taken by the Empire, Bort, as, a father, could have, felt bad. He could have felt, sympathy for them.
By the way, is Bort the guy from Utapau, or is it the other one?
That's the other guy. Yeah.
Okay.
That guy is Corrin.
I love that alien species. So one of my
fun.
favorites. So.
The Inquisitor is that, and
of course the guy from Sith.
Yes.
He's already here.
Who's that actor? That actor is...
Oh, that's the guy from Mad Max. He plays from the Road Warrior. He plays the gyrocopter pilot in the Road Warrior.
And he's actually the only actor to have been in Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, and Star Wars. He is the only actor.
And Mad Max, baby.
And Mad Max.
Gotta add that in there, baby. He's in Australia during that time still, so I can't imagine he didn't show up in one of the Matrix movies. I feel like he had to.
He had to be in the Matrix. Are you excited for the Matrix Resurrections?
That's what it's called now?
That's the rumored title. That's apparently what
they're
talking about.
Okay, we don't need to go down this rabbit hole too much, but I have never been as excited and as nervous equally for a movie. I'm very excited, but I also have no clue how it's going to work at all.
And also, too, the fact that, Fishburne wasn't asked to come back.
Not in it, yeah.
And Hugo, he was a part of it, and then he ran into some scheduling conflicts.
And and it's one of the other agents from the first movie is now in it. So I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I like the cast. I'm very curious, and obviously Lana Wachowski is a genius. I put my trust into her, but I have no clue what this movie's going to be. But anyway, let's talk about Star Wars Adventures in Wild Space, number 2, The Nest. All right. So these three goons, I feel like the kids were maybe, I get why they wouldn't be, it's reasonable they aren't too trusting of these goons, but I do think they're, at a certain point, once they've been through tons of life and death situations with them, and they're clearly not affiliated with the Empire, maybe being a little more forthcoming would have been helpful, but because then they just take them in at the end, which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. So to me, go one way or the other, I feel like, but
yeah. But anyway, the lead mercenary, Gozetta, she's this hunter character, and she claims that she owns this planet. The planet is hers. They're in wild space. She claimed it. But she's pissed about this monster that apparently, what she keeps calling Megan's monster.
Oh, Megan is one of her cronies.
The missing... Yeah.
By the way, Megan is a last name, and it's a gruff man, I believe.
Yes, it is.
I was expecting it to be a woman just because, Megan, but even though it's a different spelling, but...
Right,
yeah,
right. So, anyway, she decides they are going to hunt this monster. And, meanwhile, there's these creatures all around that they call stinkers. And stinkers, they put out this goo, they shed their skin and get bigger. Of course, Milo is obsessed with them. Milo is he wants to study them. Milo is he's the knowledge seeker of the two.
The anthropologist.
Yes.
If you will.
But anyway, they're led to a giant cave. I can't remember this girl's name. Gozetta sends the children in as bait. So Lena and Milo go inside, and then they find the two missing people. The two missing people are, of course, Megan and Sada. And apparently there was a third person part of this group, and Sada, he died.
He died, yeah. So they help them kind of get out of a big crater, or not crater, crevasse.
A hole.
A crevasse, if you will. I hate myself. And so they help them get out of that, and then basically the rest of the book is running from the beastie.
Right, because the beastie comes at them, and then they get outside and they're like, Gozetta, you don't understand. This beastie is gigantic. The beastie turns out to be a giant stinker.
Not just a little stinker, a big old stinker.
Giant stinker. A humongous stinker. But anyway, they're like, you can't
He's like
do
a
it.
billboard-sized stinker. You can spread this stink all over Hollywood Boulevard, baby. I don't know.
So they run, and Gozetta's like, I'm staying, which then, unfortunately, our one character, Corin from Utapau, is taken by the creature, and then Bort is also taken by the creature. We do not know the fate of these characters because obviously the little stinkers take them inside the cave to be, I guess, taken as food. However, there's no follow-up to this.
The other thing is Gozetta, hates all of her crew, basically, and she's like, I just want to fight this creature. I want to, go mano-a-mano with the creature. That's her whole goal. And so she's going wild. And meanwhile, Lena calls back Crater, who's back at the ship, and is like, fix up the ship. We got to get out of here. We're coming. And then Crater's like, I'm programmed to protect you. Are you in danger? And she's just like, no, just fix the ship. We're on our way. And so they keep running, and the creature seemingly eats Gozetta, right? Am I right about this?
No, Gozetta has a thing on her waist that can call her ship. So she calls her ship.
Oh, that's what it was.
She hops in the ship, and then, her crew is like, Bort is like, wait for me. She takes off. You see her in the cockpit, and she just turns away. She just takes off without them. You think she's running. She ends up coming back and trying to fight the stinker with her ship. The monster takes her ship down. And then there's a huge explosion, so you believe that she has perished in the explosion. So then the kids are trying to get to their ship. Then Crater shows up. Crater.
This was shocking because the chapter ends with a cliffhanger, basically. What was it again?
Let's find out.
I'm sorry, this is not good radio.
Okay, hang on. I think I'm here. The cliffhanger is, an abrupt light sliced through the mist, and the creature skidded to an abrupt halt. And you're like, whoa,
and you're like, what's going on? And it winds up Crater is just like, you can't hurt my kids. Nice try. I'm programmed
to protect. Yeah.
And so
he's like IG-11,
I know,
in
yeah, straight up.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, no, it was so funny. And so then they basically and so this allows them to escape again.
Mm-hmm. And Crater actually here gets pummeled into the ground by the stinker, and you're like, oh, he's dead? But no, they go back later and they rescue him.
And he's just punch drunk, basically. He's like,
yeah.
He says Lilo, as in Lena and Milo put together, so, and it's just like, oh, he's just like Rocky after. After he fights Clubber Lane the first time,
But anyway, Gozetta, who you think is dead, comes back at the last moment, hits the creature with a rocket launcher. The stinker then runs after her. We don't know what happens to her. The kids get in the ship along with Megan and Sada. And they get into orbit where they fix the ship because the ship's not 100% fixed. It takes them 4 hours. And then they find out that the one crew member who died, who they don't meet, he was the one who may have had some ties to these rebels. We don't know. Sada's not for sure of that.
But she knew he had some friends on a planet called Lothal. Now, I'm sure everybody listening knows what that is. But if you haven't watched Rebels, that's the planet from Rebels. That's where Ezra's from.
Yep.
So I'm curious. And this series, of course, started a couple years after Rebels. So I wonder if there's going to be some tie-in. This obviously takes place many years before Rebels. But I'm very excited about this. And so they wind up dropping off Megan and Sada. Where do they drop them off again?
They drop them off, I guess, Gazetta has a ship in orbit. So they drop them off there, and the kids are like, "Are you sure you guys don't want to come with us?" And Sada's like, "No, I just want to go home. Like, I don't want to be involved."
I wonder
in your
if they'll
adventure.
show up again at some point.
Yeah, maybe. So.
But anyway, so then they're off to Lothal at the end of the book. So,
which leads into book 4, book 3, the heist.
The heist. Now we're not reading the heist next week, but. The one good thing about the book being called The Heist, is it opens up so many possibilities for what movie we could watch. And I'm a huge heist movie aficionado. I'm like, what can I force Stabby Doo to watch? I'm sorry, Levi. What can I force Levi to watch? Can I make him spend 3 hours in Michael Mann's universe? I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see. I may be like, that movie's too long and it'll insult you and infuriate you.
Yeah, I don't know if I can handle a disagreement over heat.
We could have a potentially like another Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on our hands if that happens.
I don't know, because I don't have a sense of your feelings about Man. I feel like you haven't seen really any of
I haven't seen enough. I have not.
So I don't know. Anyway, regardless, next week we're not doing the heist. We're moving on to Junior Jedi Knights. We're going to alternate for roughly 3 books at a time with these two series.
Yes.
So next week, Junior Jedi Knights, number 1, the Golden Globe. Let's rate the Nest first. I forgot.
Yeah, that's important before we... Okay.
I thought this was the weakest of the 3.
Yeah, so far, I agree. I'll give it 6. Maybe 7. 6.5.
I might go 7 still. I think it's still consistently strong. I'm not a big Beastie fan. The longtime listeners, they know I think the Beasties can get really boring, but the propulsion was still there. I still just find these characters generally likable. I gotta say, Crater, I keep liking him more and more. Every book. I love Crater, man. Crater rules, like, just coming to sacrifice himself for the kids. I loved it.
Any time a robot sacrifices itself for a human, that is like, it's like
always good.
It tugs at my heartstrings every time.
It's the T2 rule. So I think there's, but yeah, like, I thought this was kind of like, I'm kind of glad we got a break from Captain Corda and all that stuff. Like, just getting some time with seeing these characters kind of have to deal with something on their own that has nothing to do with their parents, really.
Right.
That was kind of fun. And I'm looking forward to Lothal.
But in the end, this story is not going to have really probably any effect on the main overall story. So that'll be interesting to see if we get more stories like that within the series, or if this will be kind of like a standalone, like, Monster of the Week episode kind of thing. So
yeah, I don't know, because there's only 6 books. I mean, 7. But we only got 4 more left. So
right.
We'll see. Anyway, yeah. Like I was starting to say, next week we're going to start reading Junior Jedi Knights.
Who wrote the first one?
Nancy Richardson wrote the first book, The Golden Globe. So we will be discussing that book next week. And we've been hinting around for the last several weeks.
I've been calling it a Golden Globe spectacular, is what I've been calling it.
Because the episode is going to come out a couple days before this year's very weird, empty, pandemic-haunted Golden Globes, and with all movies that 5 people have seen and all that. So we're not talking about this year's Golden Globes. And we had talked about maybe trying to watch an old Golden Globe ceremony, but we kind of moved away from that. And we decided what's unique about the Golden Globes amongst awards ceremonies, right? Mm-hmm. They have the musical or comedy category. And so,
right, Best Picture in musical or comedy.
So we talk, which, we'll talk. I
don't often associate those two genres together.
I mean, musical. all musicals are often comedies, but not so much in the modern times of the Golden Globes.
Right.
Musicals and comedies used to overlap a lot more. And I guess the Golden Globes started in the 50s, so maybe a fair categorization.
It would have definitely been more fair in old Hollywood, I would imagine.
But
so.
Regardless, anyway, that's the unique thing. So we decided, okay, let's go to all the Star Wars release years, and let's see if maybe there's a movie that won musical or comedy that'd be fun to talk about. Not really. Like, the first, in 77, it was The Goodbye Girl, which somehow beat Annie Hall. I just
Shockingly.
I have to just put that out there.
Beat Annie Hall.
For best musical or comedy. That is weird. I just want to say that. And, like, Goodbye Girl's fine, but, like, whatever your feelings are, and I understand all of them, like, Annie Hall is, like, one of the best movies ever made. So that is very weird. Anyway, that aside, we looked through, none of them were that compelling. None of the winners were all that compelling to talk about.
And that's within the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy. We couldn't quite find one that, like, really stood out to us. So then we thought about, there's a sequel trilogy, but those movies are too recent. That's within, like, the past 5 years. So then we thought, okay, because we were running out of ideas here. We were almost going to watch Yentl.
Yeah, almost Yentl, which I'm not opposed to watching, by the way, and talking about maybe at some point.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel like, I wanted to have something wild and talk about something fun.
It wasn't a Golden Globe spectacular.
Yeah.
So then we're like, all right, what other years are there? And then it was like, 2008.
The Clone Wars movie.
Clone Wars came out in 2008. The winner of that year for Best Picture in a musical or comedy, Vicky Cristina Barcelona by Woody Allen. A movie we will not be discussing.
Yeah, like a movie, we'll be honest, a movie we both like, but we don't feel like talking about it. Who wants to have that conversation?
Yeah,
Not me!
Who wants to have a conversation about a polyamorous Javier Bardem? Like,
right.
we don't need to have that.
I don't need to have it. But we looked at the nominees. We were like, okay, what was nominated that year?
So we have Burn After Reading, Happy Go Lucky, and Mamma Mia.
All right. So you might be thinking, Burn After Reading, that's like an interesting kind of minor Coen Brothers movie, maybe worth rediscovering. I like it. I actually do really like that movie. I think it's underrated, but we don't need to talk about it at length. And then what was the other one?
There's damn it. I clicked out of it. Happy Go Lucky.
Happy Go Lucky. That's a Mike Leigh movie. I'm sure it's very good. I haven't seen it, to be fair. But Mike Leigh's a great filmmaker. I'm sure it's great. But you know what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about Mamma Mia, the movie.
I did skip one. In Bruges.
In Bruges.
You
haven't seen that movie?
No, I haven't. No, I've never even heard of that movie.
But we're not talking about that movie, so we don't even need to talk about it now.
No.
Mamma Mia is what we're talking about next week. We are, and guess what? Guess what's happening the following week? We're going to be discussing Junior Jedi Knights #2, Lyrics World. Now, Mamma Mia, you're thinking, okay, that's the jukebox musical with ABBA songs, right? They might even use ABBA lyrics, for example. Mm-hmm. So for and even the subtitle maybe of Mamma Mia 2 is the lyrics from the song Mamma Mia. Mamma Mia, here we go again will be what we're discussing the following week. So we're doing a double shot of Mamma Mia next week and the following week. Get excited. You can watch Mamma Mia, the first one, right now for free on Peacock. It includes ads, but all hail the Peacock is what I have to say. All hail the Peacock. So, and also we'll be watching that and we'll be discussing it, you and I, with our guest next week who doesn't know about this, your wife, Mel. We've made this decision without consulting her, so it may change. We'll see.
Well, we went to a drive-in over the summer, and we went and saw Christine and Christine, and Bullet. And there was 2 screens, and on the screen behind us was Pitch Perfect and Mamma Mia. And the entire night I kept looking in my rearview mirror and seeing those movies, and I was intrigued every time I looked in that rearview mirror. And so badly, I was like, they're playing it tomorrow night. Can we please come back tomorrow night? I've not seen either of these movies. And she refused. So this is what she gets for watching Mamma Mia and Mamma Mia 2.
What do you think of Bullet? Bullet's pretty good.
Bullet was alright.
I love the car chases. So.
The car chase is the most exciting part of the movie.
It's incredible.
And then the car chase happens like 3/4 of the way into the movie, and I honestly don't remember a whole lot else about it. But Christine I really liked.
Christine. What is this?
That's a John Carpenter movie.
Oh, Christine. Christine.
Yeah.
Yes. I don't know why. That's a very good movie. Yeah.
Yeah, very good. That night they called. That weekend they were calling Killer Cars and Killer Women. So that was the theme of the drive-in.
So that's fun. All right, but yeah, no, I mean, Bullet is like one of those things where it's like the vibe is great. Like, is the movie great? I don't know, but the vibe is great.
The vibe is real cool. That vibe is neat. Yep.
Anyway, so next week, Mamma Mia and Junior Jedi Knights, the Golden Globe.
Our Golden Globe spectacular.
What have we done with this program? I'm sure there are people listening that are so mad about the way the show is going.
The format change.
I feel like there must be. Please don't leave any iTunes reviews if you are. It doesn't really matter to us. The show's ending this year, so who cares? But we're having a great time, and guess what? We're enjoying Adventures in Wild Space. We're having a good time.
We are.
With it. So I'm glad the show's making us read that, and I'm also glad to talk about Empty Nest and Mamma Mia and everything. And I promise we'll talk about movies that we actually think are going to be good too. I bet Mamma Mia. We might surprise ourselves with Mamma Mia. I feel like you and I might like these movies.
Yeah, have you never seen Mamma Mia either?
No.
Nor have I. This is going to be great.
Yeah. I feel like we're both big ABBA fans. Like, why wouldn't we like it? And, Pierce Brosnan singing sounds hilarious. I can't wait. All right. So, that's what we're doing. That's
the show. That's it. It's over.
It's over. Go home.
It's over. And until the books are due back.
The library is closed. Padawan Library is hosted and produced by Tim May and Levi Peretic. It is edited by Tim May. Our theme song is by The Astral Project. Our artwork is by Freddie Funbuns. Padawan Library is copyright 2021. Tim May and Levi Peretic. All rights reserved.